welcome back. And if you take a look on the screen here, you can see we have a girder, and also you can notice that we have moved so much by adding more details to our structure. And coming back to the girder here, you can see the girder will be attached to the rafter here through plates. A plate will be welded on one part of this girder on this strut, and then the plate will be welded on the rafter here, and the two will be bolted together. And that applies here, and that applies on all the rafters that are connected to the girder. Now, I've just noticed something here. I don't know where it is, but it's somewhere here, because this one is not fully connected to that end. And let's just finalize that. I want to, you can see, if I just check this closely, you can see this plate is not all the way going to the column. So there's no attachment to the column, and this purlin is just hanging. So let's rectify this by selecting the plate, then click on the edge you want to extend, and the moment you click the edge you want to extend it to from, you will have these handles here with three options. We will pick on that option where it gives us an option to select the surface where we intend to extend to. So I'll pick on the surface. So I'll just select the surface right there, and if I select the surface, you'll be able to see our plate has just extended to that surface, complete with welding. So that's how you do that. Now, so that's an extension in 3D, like in AutoCAD, just an extension in 1D, in 2D. I mean, now we want to create a plate here. We want to create a plate here, and we have to minimize this or hide this. I'll come there and minimize that, and come to steel, and come to, steel, under steel, and go to plate. And I want to create a plate here using a contour plate tool here, and I want to just create a plate there by following some simple points there, and I have my plate in place. So this plate is too thick, and I'll double click on it to change the thickness here. Let me just drag that aside, and I just need 6 millimeter, and that's okay. And I want to take it slightly inside, so I have to come to position depth and pick in front. So that will take it inside. So I'll need another one on the other end, so just right click and come to copy, and I'll just pick copy from that edge and take it all the way to that spot right there. So there we have plates in place. Now I have to bring back the parts that I've hidden. Now we want to create a plate by following these edge points, that edge and that edge. Now you can as well use points just to ensure you're accurate in locating the points. And I'll come to plate there, and I want to create another plate above this, and I'll create another one there, and I'll define on that, and I'll zoom and close the loop here. So the moment I close the loop, I'll have my point in place. So I don't know which plate we've created. So I'll just double click on one here, and I have that in place, and I'll come to positioning depth, and I'll bring it behind. If I click on that, I'll be able to bring it behind, or if I click on front, I'll be able to bring it front. But I have to change this thickness to 6. So the moment I do so, that will be okay. So this plate will be welded to that member of the girder, and we have to mirror this on the other end. And also, to mirror that is also dependent whether this strut is actually right at the middle of the web. Now, if you're not sure of that, we'll just go ahead and maybe create another one, or just copy this plate on the other end. Right click and come to special copy, and I'll pick on copy. Just pick on the copy and snap on that spot and copy it, and just place it right there. And we have another plate on the other end. So let me just click on that and turn and check if any part of this plate is hitting inside of this strut. Perfect, it's okay now. Now from here we want to create points that will guide us in creating the bolts, in placing the bolts. So I'll come to points, I'll come to edit here and come to points, and just pick the midpoint here. I'll just snap on that spot to look at the midpoint there. Now I'm going to populate this point downward at a 30 millimeter interval. Then right click and come to special copy here. I'll come to special copy here and populate the points downward, and I'll change everything to 0 except the z-axis, because this is axis I'm going to work on. So I'll prefix my dimension with a negative sign, and I want to populate everything downward up to maybe I need 7 or 6 of them will be okay, or 6 will be okay. Let me just give it 8 and click that, and we have 8 in place. So having placed the points in place like that, what I'm going to do, I'm going to just select everything here, select the points, because we need the same points on the other end. So I'll have to select these points and copy them on the other end. And how do we copy them? First of all, turn this into a position that you will be able, your view will not be hindered. And I'm going to pick on that, and I'm going to snap on that spot, pick it from that spot, and I want to pick it, place it right at the center there. So I have my points on both sides. So what I'm going to do once again here, I want to just go straight to place the bolts. Remember, this plate is welded to this, and that the other plate is welded to the rafter there. So this girder will be taken and be fixed on site right away by bolting. So I'll come to steel, then come to a tool here under steel, and pick on the bolts. So I'll pick the parts I want to bolt. I want to bolt to these two plates. I'll right click and I'll come here and snap on that spot and move all the way to the bottom end here and snap right there. So the moment I snap there, you can notice there is an error, and that error is because our XYZ plane is not favoring the placement of our bolts. So how do we work around that? We'll come to view, then come to more options here, and we'll place our XYZ plane just on the surface of this plate, exactly where we want to bolt. So we have our Y and X axis in that order. Now we'll come to bolts here. We'll come to bolts or under steel, then pick on the bolts here, and we'll go back and pick the parts we want to bolt together. I'll right click and start defining the points, the range of my bolts. I'll snap right there. So the moment I snap right there, you can see the symbol of bolts. So this is just a default setting. So from here, you'll double click and customize the center to center distances and the size of the bolts. And if I come to settings here, you can see I have M20, M16, and I'll come to positions here, and on the y-axis I'll just change everything to 0 and click OK. Now this is where you need settings here. So from here to here is 30. From center to center is 30. And how many bolts do I need? Even the 3 is okay. If I select the bolts and come and hide, you'll be able to see we're actually in the actual points, but this is 60. This is 60. We can add the last one to make it 4. So let me just show all and double click on these bolts here and just drag it aside and come to position here, and I can add this to make it add 3 to make it 4. So if I click on that and click OK, I'll be able to have my bolts in place, and you can see that perfectly well done and in position, so at a distance of 60. So we have options of leaving it at that, or we can go ahead and double click on it and add the bolts at a 30 distance, and we can change that to 30, and we take that to 7, and we click apply, and you can see we have bolts on top there. So if I change that to 0 and click apply, you can see we have all the bolts in place, but the 30 millimeter, it's quite close. So we have to change this to take this back where it was at. There were 4 of them, or 3 at 60 that millimeter, and that's okay. So there's an offset there from the edge, which is 30 millimeter. So we have to take into account that we need that in place. So we're okay where we are. And I can go ahead and click apply, and we can set that as a default and click apply and give it an OK. So if I turn around, I'll go ahead and apply the same bolt setting here. I'll come to bolts and pick on the group and pick the parts I want to bolt. I want to bolt that, and come here and right click and start from that spot and move all the way to this spot. And since we defined that, we placed a setting that bolt setting is our default, we'll be defaulting on that setting. Now we want to weld this blade to that end. I'll come to weld and steel and come to auto weld here and pick on two objects, and I'll pick that member and that member, and I've created a welding right there, and I'll weld that to that. So if I pick that and turn it round, I'll notice I've not created any welding. Maybe the procedure of creating the weld didn't follow well, and pick that, and I went to weld this plate to that plate. So you can see the welding has been created. So if I right click and come to show assembly, you'll be able to, if I pick that and show assembly, you'll be able to see I have the assembly in place. Now the part remaining is this plate is not welded to the flange, this rafter. So I'll come back here and pick on that spot and pick on auto weld and pick on this plate and weld to that. So we've created a welding there. We'll turn that round and come to auto weld and pick on that, and we want to weld this plate to that. So we've created a welding right there. So this is how nice it is and easy to use COMOSYS. So we'll do the same thing to all these parts. Then after doing so, we'll go ahead and now start splitting or cutting this rafter into transportable sizes, because that's what I thought of showing you. Now the rest, I think you can do that. You can do, because I've just showed you how you can walk around that, or you can walk around about this. So you can see we've created boards there. So this is just to hold these in place, the girder in place, and the girder is just a trimming, edge trimming, roof edge trimming, or it provides a structure for our facade along the edges. Now this is where the name of the fuel vendor will be written, or the distributor will be written. We'll move step by step and see how the fully finished, and also a rendered view of that, but we'll use a different software in doing that. Now, if you take a look at the end, at the middle here, we have a space here, and this is where we want to place our valley-gutter, and that will be defined by the distance from here and to the other end. And to get the distance, I'll just pick the dimension here. I'll come to edit, and I want to know the dimension, so that if I start creating or extruding my gutter, I'll be using accurate measurements. So let's come to measure, and I want to start getting the full length here from the edge right there all the way to the far end here. So if I click on that end or just mouse over there, you'll be able to see I have 38.1 or 38,100 millimeter. Now I have some points already created here that will help me create, in creating a valley gutter profile. So I'll come to steel, then come to plate. Then I want to follow these points in creating the gutter. I'll snap on these spots here that I've just created, and move that way, and I'll snap on that spot and move all the way down here, and just to create a polygon, and I'll pick on that and pick on this. Let's just zoom close and make sure you don't mix things up, and then snap on that spot and I'll snap on that spot. So I'll move and snap on this spot here and snap here. Then come down like that and all the way to that spot. Then go there to that point and come back here and close. Then we close the polygon all the way to where we started, and let me snap there and move all the way to that spot, and I'll move all the way to this spot here and go straight to this particular position right there, and we are almost there. I'll snap on that spot and come here and close that, and I'll close that. So the moment I close that, you'll be able to see I have a profile here. Closer. If you take a closer look, let me just turn that round. You can see we have some sort of gutter here. So this is what I want to query. I want to select on that, right click and come to copy, and I want to copy this from that spot and take it up. Copy it up. I want to place it up here, right at the center here, right at the center right there. So I have it in that position. Now I want to use the measurement that I had just showed you, the 38 meters 0.1, and if I double click here, I'll come to the plate properties. So under thickness is where I'll be able to feed the thickness there. I'll be able to feed 38 100 there. So I'll go ahead and click apply. So if the once I click apply, you'll be able to see we have our valley gutter all the way to the other end, and that is what we wanted to do. So if I come here, or if I select on it, right click and come to move, if I come to special move and try zoom out slightly, and come here and change everything to 0, except on the direction we intend to move. So in this particular case, we intend to move on the y-axis at a distance by 10 millimeter. I want this to show you how we want to move this slowly but accurate. So I'll just click this repeatedly, though let's add another 100 there to make it move faster. So if I click on that, I'll be able to move to this far end because I've just taken the measurement up to that level, but we've gone past our target. So let me just click that and walk away from it slightly. So from where we are, we still have a slighter gap, and this gap we need to close it. And right click there, I'll right click and come to special copy, special move, and come to linear. Then this time I'll just use 1 and just click it slowly till we hit that end, the edge of that girder. So there we are. So if I turn it around like that, you'll be able to see we have our gutter in place, and from there you can also see we have our gutter in place, but it's past our target. So trimming it off is not a bigger issue. We can trim it off. We can just double click on it and come here and maybe change this by 50. We can just type that. We can change it to 50, 050, and if we click on that, we'll be able to change that, and we can still go ahead and change by 25, and you can see we are changing it accurately. Change that to 20, and that is responding, and we can give it 15. 15 will be okay. We change that to 15 or 10. 10 will be okay, or 5. Or 5. We can change that to 5 and click OK. So that will be okay, and we can leave it there. But it's still a clash. There is a slight clash there, and we can always change that to 0 and click OK. And boom, we are okay to move. And this is how you create a gutter. you create a profile and give it a thickness. Let me just select a point and we'll be able to turn that round like that. So this is our gutter, and it will be draining water. It will be draining water from the top all the way to the bottom, and will create. In fact, we'll segment it into transportable sections, and that we'll do later on by using. I'll show you a special tool how we can break it. So, or I can just show you here right away. I'll come to steel, then come to edit, then I'll come to frame, then I'll come to break frame. I can pick any section here, pick any section. I'll pick the plate, or if it doesn't read this as a section, we'll just cut it, trim it, and chop it. Just cut it somewhere here, or reduce the sizes and distribute it at a transportable distances. Then we create the spouts. We'll create the spouts down there where we'll be able to connect the down pipes that will be hidden inside the column facades here, so that you want to be able to see the down pipes. So that's how we do it, and let's meet on the next presentation. Though I'm trying to cut down on time, that's why I've gone beyond regular 10 minutes, 5 minutes, just to show you how we can work around our way around this. Thanks, and let's meet then.